Ironically, these walls weren't built until 1994. So this area became very, very totally run down. These waters on this canal were totally polluted. The river, totally polluted. These buildings were so nasty that even vagrants and rats probably wouldn't even come in them anymore. But about 15 years ago, some very smart people started buying these buildings up, I'm sure next to nothing. And when the news media started saying, hey, why are you buying these buildings? What are you going to do with this blighted zone down here? It's no man's land. It floods and it gets filthy. Their reply was, we're going to take these buildings. We're going to redo these shells. They're strong as can be. Let me stop right there. Look over to your right about a 2 o'clock position. See the blue heron? Hey, Bella, would you do a little flight for us? There you go. See how she lifts off? Watch her land. You know, that's why if I see something interesting, I'm going to stop. Hey, show it to you. She is the most graceful bird you've ever seen take off and land. Did you see how she just lifted right up? She doesn't have to get a running start. And when she lands, she hovers for a millisecond, can land on a branch about the size of your finger in diameter, and barely even make the leaves move. But all these companies down here pulled out of here by 1964, and these people said, we're going to take these very strong buildings that have endured every kind of flood that Mother Nature's thrown at it. We're going to rebuild them from the inside up to the top floors of each building, replumb it, rewire it, bring it up to modern day amenities. We're going to make them into condominiums, restaurants, real estate offices, advertising agencies. We got to build the parking decks. We're going to put money in to clean these waterways up, hopefully get private donations, corporate donations, even federal government donations to clean these waters up. We're going to make Richmond a river city. Well, I can tell you, when I heard that, I was laughing my can off. I'm thinking, hey guys, come over here. Would you like to buy the Brooklyn Bridge? And if I got a deal for you. They did. And look what they did. They took these lemons, turned them into lemonade. So what about a flood? If the floods are so big down here, not a problem. You see where the second deck is immediately to your left? I've seen water get up above those decks. Yes, I am not exaggerating. You can go on the internet and look up at Richmond floods. In the event of a flood, we'll know days in advance. Get your vehicles to higher ground. Get them out of here. Lock them. Come back. Now, if you look to your left, you'll see the large bay windows for a good 30 feet above the decks. You see what I'm talking about? You can see some furniture in there. That's where people live. How does that work? Well, it works with Mother Nature. Just to give you an idea, to show you what I'm talking about as far as how high these floods can get. Look over straight ahead. You see the stop sign on the next street corner, right where that guy's walking? I've seen the word stop underwater. And that car right where he was walking up the next street, a black, I guess, a minivan or whatever you call it. If you sighted the top of that stop sign to about the roof line of that vehicle, that's how high the waters can get. I am not exaggerating to you. And so where people live, if you look at those bay windows and look up at the street where it levels out, they're out of harm's way. Let's put it this way. When those floors ever get wet, they're not going to be around to complain. That will be the Armageddon of these buildings down here. Now, if you see the sky straight ahead, see what I'm talking about, the skyline up there? Mm-hmm. Richmond is a city of more hills than most Richmonders even realize. That is the most important hill in Richmond, Virginia that changed the course of America's history to this day in the way we live. It's called Church Hill. Got its name because of all denominations of churches are up there. That is where the wealthy built their beautiful mansions. Many still exist to this day. Up there was very much white-collar, wealthy people that invested in Washington's building this canal, made money on it. Invested in building the factories down here I mentioned, made money. Invested later on in the railroads. 2 generations later, the tobacco industries down here. That was a very, very white, wealthy neighborhood. This was very much blue-collar down here. But Church Hill, because of all the churches up there, that's how it got its name, has one church that was built in 1741 that has changed us to this day. Let's step it up to the last week of March of 1775. there was a big debate going on about what to do with the British Empire that controlled us with an iron fist. Outrageous taxes, unlivable laws. It seemed like every time a vessel from England would come over on the East Coast and land in any port city, more laws, more taxes were just heaped on us. We'd already tried to rebel against the British in an incident called the Boston Tea Party, but it was not a success, but it was never considered a failure. It was more of a kind of a crossroads of what can we do to get out from under the British rule. So for these 4 days, some of the greatest leaders of the 13 colonies, I guess you caught what I said, 13 colonies, we were still living under British rule, were debating. And who were some of these people you would know and from your history? Well, I'll drop a few big names. George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Benjamin Harrison, Benjamin Franklin, and a host of others you're not going to know, debated for days. Let's try this, let's try that. Nah, maybe this. Nah, it won't work. How about that? Nay, won't work. But days this went on. Finally, a lawyer who lived about 30 miles outside of Richmond, Virginia in Hanover County, finally stood up and said, gentlemen, you ought to know as well as I do, there is no compromising, there's no bargaining, there's no negotiating with the British. Every time we've tried it, it's gotten worse. In fact, these words I'm about to say to you, if you want to call it treason, then so be it. But as for me, give me liberty or give me death. You remember who said those famous words, don't you? Mr. Patrick Henry. Literally everybody stopped in their tracks, looked at one another and said, he's right, a revolt. Gentlemen, when you leave this church, you tell everybody, tell everybody, tell everybody, tell everybody, tell everybody. Spread the word from person to person, city to city, town to town, farm to farm. Grab rifles, pistols, bayonets, clubs, if that's all you get your hands on. We're either going to drive the British out and become a free and sovereign nation, or Lord help our souls. Less than 3.5 weeks later, the first shots were fired to start the American Revolution. Do you remember where that was, by chance? Outside of Boston, in the cities of Lexington and Concord, Massachusetts. Anybody remember the old expression, the shot heard around the world? You might remember an old poem that was written towards the end of the Revolutionary War by Longfellow called The Midnight Ride of Paul Revere. Listen, my children, you shall hear the midnight ride of Paul Revere, yada, 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 yada. So, who was the commanding general of the American forces for the 6.5 years against the British? None other than General George Washington. This guy pops up everywhere, doesn't he? His adversary, his enemy was Lord Cornwallis.